Blessed ones of the nations of the world, this is your brother Dan Moses Osei Yaosakodi of TRC, Ghana, coming your way with the program Testimony New World Disorder from the Ashanti Kingdom, Asante Man, and from Ghana, the land of my birth, the land of my nativity, my home, Akwaba, to the program Testimony New World Disorder. Before we begin, I want to give ourselves a special welcome by saying Akwaba, Allen, Sahalen, Shagitam, welcome, Inganjoni, Benvindo, you are welcome, Kuso, Diwo, to San Senyon, Okukulaba, Mauya, Mingalaba, Boye, Malamo, Karebo, Ekabo, no, o Sano, Dezua, Enkwang de Ena, Mitash, Duburo, Pezaluvat, Bine I Vinit, Bariga Lustipita Iche, Aibon, Dobridoya, Velkomen, Estan, Ozot Walang Anumang, Bienvenido, Namaste, Suagetam, Kush, Amadid, Baruch, Haba, Marhaba, Huang Yong Haminida, Huang Ying, Nyejeko, Anemime, Nyejeko, Wezolo, Novio, Mia, Wezo, Akwaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder. Testimony New World Disorder is the program through which we get to know what is happening to Ghana, America, humanity, and the nations of the world in these times of global deception, delusion, and lies that are willfully made up by some of the very people that we trust to be there for humanity and the nations of the world, and yet have chosen to be the very people that are dealing with us by willful lies, deception, and delusion, having brought humanity and the nations of the world into this global helplessness, global man-made Jacob's trouble, I call it. Humanity and the nations of the world, we are most grateful to God that by this same program we as well get to receive some divine guide, divine direction, divine insight that we may know exactly what to do in these times of global helplessness, global wickedness. Akwaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder, humanity and the nations of the world. Thus, program is coming to us. It's being recorded on the 13th of May 2021, Thursday night, to be posted for Friday the 14th of May 2021. Humanity and the nations of Akwaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder. We are operating under the grace of God given to us. So we should bear with the situation in the background. We don't have the scepter, we don't have the background images, the saints of God that's always behind that. They are there, but God is in total control. We should stay focused and continue the exposés. Akwaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder, humanity and the nations of the world. So we want to one more time reiterate to the noble people of the Asante region and Kumasi that this is a CIA operative, the family member, so-called family member of the US undercover agent, whom the CIA through the church, Brooklyn Tabernacle Church, infiltrated Ghana in the year 2007 after the cover of the US undercover agent had blown. Next choice was to find every possible way to tear down Ghana, just like we had seen in Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and the nations of the world. So this is the individual. Her name is Bebet from Haiti, and she's an American citizen. The U.S. undercover agent is also, her parents are from Haiti, and she's an American citizen as well. Humanity and the nations of the world. Santiman, Menshia Palace, noble ones of Menshia, your His Royal Majesty Tumfo Osetutu the second. This is the CIA operative. We are not speaking out of our imagination. She is a family member of a so-called family member of this U.S. undercover agent, my own former spouse. So we know what we are talking about. Humanity and the Nation. So this is the individual. I think this is the exact picture I showed to us. Probably I showed this one. This is also one of the crime network members for the Kenneth Teritedeku Church, the one of the members that orchestrated the setup, Mary. We should not confuse her with this CIA operative who infiltrated the Menchia Palace with the intention to spy the palace and provide enough information that Menchia will be torn down, Ashanti-Man will be torn down, His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Seitutu's precious life would be taken. Humanity and the Nations of Akwaba to the program. Testimony, New World Disorder. So, Ghana and the nations of the world, when the cover of the undercover agent got blown, total terror must be unleashed on me. Ghana must be torn down. They had to orchestrate, find every criminal, said, get a nation torn down. And humanity and the nation, we should not be surprised, because we know many nations of the world, Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, under the war on terror for Osama bin Laden, who was long dead during the rule of His Excellency John Ejekum Kufuor, who was in cahoot with these global forces, with his own political, some of his own political, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo, his diplomatic stakes at the Washington D.C. Ghana Embassy, Washington D.C. They were willfully in cahoot with the George Bush administration, getting innocent Muslims and innocent on the nations of the world killed in the handful of Osama bin Laden, whom they know was not alive, and my precious life was what they were in a plot with this U.S. undercover agent, going about the killing on the nations of the world. Humanity and the nations of the world. Akwaba to the program. Testimony, New World Disorder. You are a Muslim in Ghana and of the nations of any part of the world. We should. God works in mysterious ways. The ways of God are unthinkable. We should not be surprised that it is a Christian that God used to stop the willful killing of innocent Muslims and the nations of the world. We should not be surprised that God used a Christian to expose that, to stop the killing that was going on under the cover of the hand for Osama bin Laden, whom they knew was long dead. We should not be surprised as to how, although Ghana is a nation of Christian, Muslims, traditionalists, and yet the kind of tribalism which I told us from the beginning, that is a problem in Ghana, and hatred, politics of total stupidity, was able to let the government of John Ejekum Kufuor, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo, and later Mahamudu Bawumia all support that diabolical cause at the expense of innocent Muslims on the nations of the world, when they knew so well that there are Muslims in our own nation. It's okay. The good news is we are here, we are alive, we have our lives, and we must be thankful to God that we are here. My precious uncle's life has been taken, my father's life has been taken. So this is a very painful experience for all of the human race, not only Muslims or Christians that were killed along. My own pastor was, they have to pierce a knife through his upper torso, protrude through his stomach and kill him. Understand? So it's not only like any particular religion, people of any particular religion that are fallen victim. These people, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo, John Ejekum Kufuor, Ambassador Duse, Mahamudu Bawumia, these people are very wicked. It is, their wickedness is not a thing in their mind, it is in their very soul. So it will take only God to take it out of their soul. You understand? Just like tribalism is in their soul, and there is nothing that can be done about it except only God. It's okay. God bless us. Humanity Akwaba to the program. Testimony, New World Disorder. So let's start getting deeper. The cover of the undercover agent is blown. They have made the Kenneth Teritedeku openly teach in church how the undercover agent would poison me and kill me. They have already made Babbitt of the CIA infiltrate Ghana. They have spied the Menchia Palace. Every agenda had been. You see, John Akufo knew that he was coming out of office, and politicians that think of nothing but themselves, their family, what he was doing with his at the back of his political party was dangerous enough to have caused worse than Third World War. Yet they had to, for hatred for me, use my innocent life to further that agenda, humanity and the nations of the world. Every attempt was made to take my life amidst unthinkable persecution. The U.S. undercover agent quickly got pregnant for me, as we have known in the previous episode, to cover the shame of the preachers who colluded with the CIA, the Ghana embassy, the government of John Akufo, the government of Ibu, to set up to orchestrate the setup marriage in church. So they must find means to cover up the shame of the undercover agent and the religious folks involved in such heinous crime. So they must let the U.S. undercover agent quickly take her out of the secret pregnancy shots and let her get pregnant for me. But after her getting pregnant for me, she got to know that that would not solve the problem. They had to persecute me, torture me unimaginably to let me get out of the undercover agent's life now that she has gotten pregnant for me, and nothing would suppress me. They could not contain me. So they had to intensify the persecution and torture against me to the point that they had orchestrated that I would leave the marriage and let the U.S. undercover agent. She has my child in her womb. But Ghana and the nations of the humanity, God help me. I stood. I never deserted my fetus in the womb of this dangerous undercover agent. I stood with my precious daughter Elizabeth, who was then in the womb. So eventually, what the undercover agent had to do was to orchestrate with the Dr. Erickson and the hospital where she was name withheld for global peace, security, and stability reason. The hospital was in Queens, Humanity and the Nations of the World, Akufo to the program Testimony New World Disorder. For the sake of global peace, security, and stability, I'm withholding the name of the hospital where my children were born. Elizabeth was born in that hospital. Grace also orchestrated. Grace was also born in that same hospital as part of the cover-up agenda. So Humanity and the Nation are covered to the program Testimony New World Disorder. So they orchestrated that if torture, persecution has not gotten me to flee from the life of the undercover agent and abandon my innocent child who was in the womb, then they had to, through C-section, get my baby out of the womb of the undercover agent. So Elizabeth was forced out of the womb through C-section. Like we said, she was doing that with this Shirley Akwando, the so-called wife of Addo Akwando. They must produce their children that they didn't intend for, to console themselves and to cover up their shame. So Shirley Akwando had a baby through natural birth, but because they had to orchestrate that they were all born together, and she had to go get my child out of her womb through C-section. Elizabeth, this is Daddy. This is how we were born. It's okay. You are no mistake. God knows you and knows me. Akufo to the program Testimony New World Disorder, Humanity and the Nations of the World. When my child was born through C-section, a day or two after the undercover agent was discharged, was brought home, so that I had to take care of her wound, the treatment of the womb at the home. I had to take care of a newborn baby, Elizabeth. This was amidst total persecution, unthinkable lawlessness by uniformed police, armed police, who would threaten me with a gun. Total lawlessness, where the home was totally under total 24/7 surveillance at the issue of a command by the US and undercover agent at the home. She's able to talk to the FBI, and within seconds they have to come with their cars, making all kinds of noise, lawlessness, motorbikes, everything that they had to they could do to kill my child. They engaged in it. Policemen, uniformed policemen, exploiting the surveillance. But God helped a daughter. I cannot think of any child, any days old child under a week old child that has endured more and can endure, that has a spirit of endurance. God gave him a kind of heart and endurance that blows my mind. She endured it all. She endured it. She saw death and lived at the hands of the FBI, the so-called national security, the terror network of Nana Addo, Akufo, Addo, some from Ghana taking who were operating terror cell in the soil of America, supervised by policemen, uniformed policemen. So, humanity and the nations of the world, amidst the persecution and the torture against me and my infant, intended to enforce the protection of the US undercover agent and to silence me from speaking and exposing her further, I had to stay up all night, because in her situation of cut, the C-section, I had to take care of the womb all night. If she had to turn herself in the night when she's sleeping, I had to roll her over. She cannot sleep on one side all night, so I have to be up taking care. Amidst me having to stay up taking care of our baby Elizabeth at the same time. So if I try to get any kind of a little sleep, their lawlessness, heat tracks packed all over the building, and their strategy is supposing I'm dozing off and I wake up at any time, they had to alert the US undercover agent, just in case they are living in fear that I'm in the same roof with them. We are saying the bedroom. So maybe because a cover is blown, maybe I would carry out a revenge on her. So since the cover got blown, anytime we are in the bedroom and we're sleeping, even before my child Elizabeth got born, they had to use the horn and sirens from fire department, ambulance trucks to alert her. Supposing we are on a bed and I had to go use the bath washroom, the moment I woke up, they had to use the sirens and so loud to wake her up, so she would just wake up to. This was before my child was born. So they were using that strategy as to alert her to wake up anytime I wake up, so that she will know that she's up, and if I will carry out any act of revenge, she would be able to resist and the police will come around. So it continued throughout when my child was born. They had to use that strategy to torture my child, deprive her of sleep willfully. And at the point I had become very weak, because I had to take care of the woman and child at the same time. When my child was born on the 4th of March 2008, 4th of March. That date was what the U.S. intelligence service, the CIA, and the U.S. government, they were playing around that figure, made the Supreme Court of Ghana fix the date for the verdict as the 4th of the verdict, Supreme Court petition hearing as the 4th of March 2021. So they were just the Supreme Court of Ghana and the Electoral Commission, together with forces, diplomatic, religious, and political forces in America and Ghana. They were colluding, using the hearing that we were seeing to make a fool of the Ghanaian people. And the Chief Justice, they didn't know. That is why I had to, before the hearing, the verdict, I have to send this document to the IGP, the Chief Justice, to let him know that they are dealing with an issue that borders on the entire human race, global peace, security, and stability at stake. So they should know what danger they are putting us, the nation Ghana, into. And yet, tribalism had to let them do what they do, and the forces in America. Akufo to the program Testimony New World Disorder. So, my child was born on the 4th of May 2008, 4th of March 2008, and on the 12th of March, the doctor had scheduled, the hospital had scheduled that I should report with my wife, so for examination, that a review, that they see how my then newborn Elizabeth was doing, and how her C-section, her cut, the treatment I'm treating, how I'm treating the wound at home, how she's recovering. So on the 12th of March, I was supposed to report at the hospital around 1 p.m. We're living in Brooklyn, New York. The hospital was in Queens, New York. Humanity. Let me mention the name of the hospital. The hospital was called Long Island Jewish Hospital. Long Island Jewish Hospital. Let's go on. So the hospital, the appointment was at 1 p.m. In the afternoon, but because all night I had to stay up, take care of the woman and my baby. Usually, like in the morning, I had to give my wife, try and wipe her down. She can't take a shower, so I have to wipe her down, try and give my baby to wipe my baby down. And then when it's like 10 a.m. thereabout, when I've fed them, both of them, that is when I try to also get a little sleep. So the appointment was on the 12th of March. But before the 12th of March, the government of Nana Addo Akufo Addo, the political stick, diplomatic sticks, the government of John Akufo, supported by Nana Addo Akufo Addo, political stick, diplomatic stick, their cliques in Ghana, colluding with the U.S. government, their colleagues, diplomatic, Ban Ki-moon supporting that terror against the Ghanaian, the torturing of infant, Ban Ki-moon supporting that evil, UN Secretary General. They were doing this in secrecy. So humanity and the nations of the world, they had to send one preacher whose church we were fellowshipping there at, because Kenneth Teddy, whose church was collapsed by the CIA, and they made him to flee New York to Florida. So we were fellowshipping in a church in Queens and Brooklyn. I say Brooklyn, Bronx, New York. So they had to. The so-called pastor was called Augustine Japan, a Ghanaian. Before the appointment of my wife and the child, one day the pastor had been sent home by the CIA, the police, the government of John Akufo, the forces behind this evil. They have sent him to the home to come threaten me to confess to being a terrorist. He knew that there was surveillance. The home was under total surveillance, and he wanted me to confess that I am a terrorist under the surveillance, so they will get that confession. And that would mean that I'm totally doomed. And he had to come, put me under pressure, threatening me with one FBI operative, a Ghanaian called Chris, he was there. Augusta Japan was in my home, together with the U.S. undercover agent, my innocent baby. We were living in the home by ourselves, myself and the undercover agent and our innocent baby. And Augusta Japan came there, and on the phone with that CIA FBI operative, a Ghanaian called Chris, they must threaten me to confess to being a terrorist. I refused. At a point, he had to tell me, he was willfully denying that the torture and the persecution against my child, he can help me forget about it. That even no matter what the police, the torture and the persecution against us, I will be immune to it. I will not mind. What he can suggest is, he's a pharmacist. He claims they have medication, and they can take me to the hospital, and they can inject me in such a way that it to block a section of my mind, and I will be immune no matter what torture and persecution against my innocent child. I would pay a blind eye to that. He wanted to get me killed for money, mansions, and cars. I refused, and they had to leave my home. I would not accept such criminality against me. Humanity and the nations of the world. The so-called priest Augustine Ejapon, a Ghanaian from the eastern region. When he left the home, a few days after, he had orchestrated with Emmanuel Bafo, who stole my father's gratuity, and the wife, Margaret Bafo. They all colluded that they should let the police come attack me at the home, because if they don't find means to get false records against me, they would all get exposed. So they orchestrated that they must bring the police, come attack me at the home, and then go make false medical reports against me to silence me. You know, in America, when the government is not performing, this strategy was used by George Bush, Barack Obama over and over again. When the government is not performing, they can stage up a terror act to let the American people think that their government is performing. They have arrested a terrorist, and meanwhile it is their own CIA intelligence service operative. And then eventually what they would do to American people is they would while they are showing the picture of the individual on the TV and the media is taking over, they are showing the picture, they eventually come out with the orchestration that the individual was a mental health patient who carried out the terror. You understand? So that they will let the case die naturally and drive the attention of the American people from the fact that it was a terror act staged by the government. If they don't use that strategy, what they will do is they will use a cartoon. If they don't use the medical field to try to paint the individual as a mental health patient who committed the terror act, which was staged by the government, they will use a cartoon, an artwork, and claim that this is the individual that committed the terror act, and they will prosecute the cartoon. They will try the cartoon, terror trial, when always they are showing the cartoon image to that this is the individual or the individuals. Eventually, they take they tell that they have sentenced the cartoons to jail. So how do you identify those? And their own government know that is a ploy, a fiasco that they were using against the American for years under the hand for Osama bin Laden war on terror. That same strategy was orchestrated by Augustine Japan, Kenneth Tedeku, together with some preachers in Ghana, Paul Ambene, and their cliques. let's not forget, Kenneth Tedeku was sent to Ghana before the marriage in the month of November 2006 to come meet Ebenezer Amponsa and Gladys Amponsa as part to orchestrate the agenda to use medical field to seek to destroy me, to silence me, just in case the cover of the undercover agent gets blown. So when the cover of the undercover agent got blown, it got to the point where they have to use the medical field to try to destroy me, to suppress me, to silence me. Humanity and the nations of the world. They failed. Let's go to the next expose and continue. God bless you. And God bless my homeland, Ghana. Bye-bye.